Welcome to the Dodger Download, the official podcast of the Fort Dodge Community School District. Each episode brings you the latest updates from our schools, including school board recaps, interviews with educators, staff, and students, plus upcoming events and stories from around the district. Whether you're a parent, student, or community member, stay connected to what's happening in the Dodger Nation. Let's dive into this episode of the Dodger Download. Welcome to Dodger Download, the official podcast of Fort Dodge Schools. I'm Josh Porter, superintendent, and today's episode is all about the student experience. Whether you're a parent, student, or proud Dodger, we're glad you are here today. Now let's go to our sponsor for today's podcast, Central Iowa Distributing in Fort Dodge, trusted partner for janitorial sanitation supplies, family owned and operated for over 40 years. They proudly serve schools, businesses, and organizations across Iowa. As a valued partner of Fort Dodge Schools, they're known for quality products, fast delivery, unbeatable service. Need that gym floor surface repaired? Looking great for next school year? Call CID. They got you covered. Central Iowa Distributing, clean, simple, and reliable. Today on Dodger Download, we're excited to welcome three amazing students from Fort Dodge Community Schools, Jesse Egli, Izzam Mejia, and Jenson Litwiller. They'll be talking about their experiences, hopes for Fort Dodge Community Schools. Before we dive into today's topics, it's time for board tidbits. Last night we had a school board meeting, fellas. Couple highlights from last night's meeting. We had an AEA agreement, so we signed a one-year contract with the AEA. Legislation has changed how we operate with AEAs. That's Area Education Association, something most of you guys probably aren't even aware of or don't even know. But special education services all come from them. School districts receive 100% of those funds now. 90% of those funds are required to go back to the AEA, so we had to have a contract with them to ensure that that took place. Another thing we're working on is Apple transition. So again, last night we approved K2 iPads. We've done some test piloting with laptops and different type of devices for Apple for students and teachers. We're kind of quietly starting that transition. Better product, better service, better return on our investment, better tool for teaching students and helping and for our staff in the classroom. Improved Infant Campus workflow. So we have a contract with Infinite Campus. We added a document called Workflow, something you guys will kind of maybe see as a student. So now what we'll be able to do is everybody's student badge, just like if you were clocking in when you go to pay for lunch, you can use your student badge to pay for your lunch. Now, if you go to any Dodger event, specifically probably football, basketball, when you walk in through the gate, you'll scan your badge. We'll know that you're there. If we have a disciplinary issue with the kid that's not allowed at the event, they won't get in. They have to have their badge. They have to be able to notify that to get in. We'll know who's at the event. We'll know what time they leave, or we'll know what time they get there. So if there's any safety things, we can use it as a safety tool as well. So a really good tool. It also kind of takes place, or it's going to help us with e-hall pass. You guys know what e-hall pass is. Yeah. So it kind of does that too. So we're just kind of dabbling in what that would look like a little bit. So, and probably the big thing from last night is we formally passed the bond resolution for $42.04 million to go to vote in November. So you guys saw that pamphlet. We'll probably touch on that a little bit later today, but that resolution last night from our board officially allows us to be on the ballot in November. So we'll send all the petition signatures in to the county auditor, and we will go from there. All right, so let's get to why we're here today. I'm excited to introduce today's guests, Jesse Egli, Izzam Mejia, and Jenson Litwiller. Can you start by telling our listeners just a little bit about yourself, maybe where you grew up, where you went to elementary school, middle school, what grade you're in, maybe activities you're involved in, just a little bit. And Jesse, we'll just start with you first.
Grew up in Fort Dodge my whole life. I play football, I wrestle, play rugby. That takes up most of my time, honestly, just sports.
Yep.
I'm not into a bunch of whole other extracurriculars, but I'm just born and raised Dodger.
Well, I grew up in Spain, and I'm in 10th grade. Well, I'm about to be a junior, but I think most of my time goes into like plays, musical, all that stuff, and I'm also in soccer. Looking into rugby next year, but Yeah, that's pretty much what my time goes into.
So time out. Before we go to Jenson, you grew up in Spain.
Yes.
So when did you start school in Fort Dodge?
I started school, I think my freshman year.
Your freshman year.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Spain?
I was in Spain for 11 years.
11 years.
Yep.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jenson.
Awesome. I'm Jenson, and I was born in Africa, in Ethiopia. And about 1 or 2, somewhere around there, I was adopted by my family. Miss Jenny Litwiller, she's the ELL. She's in a high position for that in the elementary school, so most people would know her by name, Miss Jenny. So I was adopted, and I went to Dodger Preschool, and that was just for preschool, and I went to CCS here until about 2nd grade. Then I went to St. Edmund Catholic School here for about the next 7 years, and then this sophomore year was my first year here at Fort Dodge Senior High. Yep. So I've been loving how the community is, being able to get involved. All these activities are unlike I've seen in other schools I've been in. So I've just been doing soccer this year and other theater stuff, but music, band, jazz band are all the things that I love.
Awesome. Quite the experience, right? You've been able to go to a couple of different schools, have different experiences.
Yes.
And you landed in the best spot, let's hope, right?
I think so.
So I'm going to just dive into a few questions, guys. We'll start with Izzam on the very first one, okay? What part of your Fort Dodge high school experience has had the biggest impact on you so far, and why?
I feel like my biggest learning experience has really been being in Ms. Adams, like being in English Honors 10.
Now, before you go too much farther on Miss Adams, don't give her too many props. She gets a big head sometimes. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's just been such a real life experience on how she treats you, and it can be rough sometimes because it was rough, but I feel like that's what changed me the most in some type of way, with deadlines, all that stuff.
Yeah. High expectations, right?
Yep. Really high expectations.
Jesse.
I think my coaches, I've had especially my wrestling coaches, just a phenomenal coaching staff from Tanner Utley, Mark Ryle, Tom McClyman. Tom McClyman is my rugby coach and my wrestling coach. Just everybody on that staff has had a big impact on me, helping me get through losses, helping me to handle my wins, just helping me to build as a person.
Jenson.
Yeah. I think a lot of these groups like Social Justice Council or Diversity Action Troop, many others, for example, a lot of those are student-led. Yep. And that is so much different than other things you might see in other schools.
Right.
Because students that are actively in classes and actively learning are taking leadership positions. They're making big decisions regarding money, time, and contacting higher-ups for where they need to be, where they need to go. And being able to be in those groups shows me a new perspective in leadership.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm learning so much just from you guys. Just a little bit. I like that. I know you guys just surface level, right? So see you in school. I've talked to Miss Adams's class. See you guys in the hallways, lunch, things like that. But it's always cool to get to know just a little bit more perspective on you guys, and then what activities and things you're involved in. So, the one thing that we get asked a lot as a school, they almost hound it. It's almost driven in from a lot of different levels. It's what are you doing to prepare kids for after high school, right? And every kid has a choice. Kids can, some kids go to the workforce, some kids go to college, some kids go to, we have Iowa Central, wonderful 2-year JUCO, one of the best junior colleges you're going to find in the nation, right in our back door. Tons of great 4-year universities right here in Iowa, but beyond that. But my big question today for you guys is, do you feel as if you're getting prepared for life after high school? And so, Jenson, how about you?
I believe so. More than ever, this last year has prepared me a lot for what's to come after these high school years. Because, teachers like Mrs. Adams, she pushes you not just with your academics, but she knows each one of her students on a way that I don't think I've seen in another. Well, I think I have, but not as strong as she is. So she's the one who's asked me the most questions that I've never asked myself, I think, is where I'm trying to go.
Yeah,
And then
that's
she
cool.
catches me off guard, and then it's just life-changing, not just her, but other teachers.
Yep.
And it's a very diverse workforce as like the staff, the teachers. They've all gone through like music school, education, and all these other science aspects, and they're the best people to ask for that. So I think I'm well prepared.
Yeah. Sweet. Jesse?
Yeah, I think I'm getting prepared, especially by having the option to take college classes and having things like teachers be more strict with like deadlines and stuff like that. Like if your work is late, it's late. You're not going to go in and ask them if you can still turn it in, you know. That's what college is going to be. So having teachers that like try to be like a professor and just try to not give you a bunch of grace just so you're prepared for college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that pretty much sums it up. I haven't taken a college class yet, but I feel like the option of having that really shapes up a lot of students' like academic career in some type of way, because it prepares them, like he said. And well, the experiences I've had so far, I feel like a lot of it, teachers just want accountability. And when you give it to them and you're consistent with your work, I feel like that's what life kind of is about.
Right.
Being consistent every day, in and out.
Yeah. You know, at Fort Dodge Schools, we employ like 540 some people, right? All the way from custodians to paraprofessionals to teachers. You know what we're looking for? Consistency, right? Can you meet the expectation? Can you show up to work? Are you willing to dive in? Are you willing to give everything to kids? It's not a hard concept when you just say it like that, right? Seems like a pretty easy concept. So, yeah. And then kind of what I'm hearing around the board is expectations, right? So some people think high expectations or just having expectations is tough, but I think kids rise to it. I think you guys are 3 examples of that, right? Your coaches have expectations for you. I know what the expectation is if you were in the musical. Like I've seen I've seen the time and the commitment that you have to put in if you're in one of the plays or if you're in a musical. Those expectations are extremely high. And then just, your experience in Miss Adams' class or some of your other teachers, right? You're not going to just turn in something you pulled off of AI, I can tell you that, because you will get caught, right? 100%. Yeah. She's going to call you out and she's going to share it and say something to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And so some people don't like that sometimes, but that is the reality of it. And I know there's a lot of people in that English department and other teachers that will do the exact same thing. So you guys have been at the high school for roughly 2 years, maybe 1 year, 1.5. If there's something you could change about Fort Dodge Senior High, what would that be? What would you be looking to change?
Um,
And you guys, it could be about any area, right? Like you're around athletics, you're around the weight room, you're in classes. You guys have theater, music. So
I think before I can even think of anything, this has been my first year at Fort Dodge Senior High.
Yep.
And it's been so amazing that I'm still discovering, like, it's like a huge ocean of just new things that I can see, experience, be a part of, get involved in. So I have yet to find a critique like that, but I think if I listen to them, maybe that'll prompt something.
yeah,
But
sweet.
I feel like the biggest thing for me is that theater we have.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty rough. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Still-
little, it's called the Little Theater.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
it's not really little, but it is small, but it needs some upgrades, doesn't it?
It does.
other than like the changes to the building that are already like in movement, nothing off the top of my head that I would change.
Yeah.
I think it's a good school.
Okay. So speaking of improvements, you guys have seen the flyer for the bond referendum. We passed that resolution last night, so we can go to vote in November. What were your first thoughts? What are your thoughts when you see? I mean, you guys have been around the school a little bit. You've seen some areas of it. When you look at that referendum flyer and look at what the possibilities are for Fort Dodge Senior High down the road, and you may get to see some of it, and you may not see any of it. But what are your first thoughts when you see something like that?
I'm excited. Like, I probably won't see any of it. I have one more year left, but It all looks really cool. I'm really excited for the people that are coming up, the younger kids that I know. Like, it all looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of jealous. I'm kind of jealous of like future kids that are going to go to high school, seeing all the things that they're going to be able to experience. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with all activities I've been this year, I've been able to see all these parts before, and then looking at the pictures, that's just amazing. But I think like one thing I've been thinking about is the band room. I spend a lot of time in there for music stuff, and just the difference that a room can make by a bond can show the difference that it can make in the students' lives that are coming in next year's.
Yeah, and so as students, you guys have seen there's some areas of the high school that are pretty new and pretty nice, right? It just gives a different feel, right? It's not always about the nice shiny object, but what do you like? I mean, does that matter when you're sitting in a classroom? If the temperature is controlled appropriately, if there's lighting, you guys, there's a difference if you go up to the math classroom and you go down to the English pod, right? Can you feel it?
Yeah.
How would you share that with somebody? How would you even detail that to somebody?
To me, it's kind of like you got the English pod downstairs. It's like new. It's kind of like almost like trendy. It's new.
Yeah.
Go up one level, and it's like it's how it was when it was first built.
Yeah.
You know.
So I graduated in 1999, and I had college English 1 through Iowa Central in the same exact classrooms that are up there, and they have not changed. One, Mr. Brock Adams' little office up there, that was a class I had college English 1 in. Wow. And it was exactly the same as it today as it was in 1999.
Yeah, my grandma was an English teacher, AP, Lang Lit, and journalism. She tells me about the classrooms. I show her a picture, and it looks the exact same. And then you go down to the English pod, and it's like a new modern look. It's just
right.
Yeah, it's not a huge hindrance, but it's very noticeable.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so final thoughts today as we close out today's podcast. This is our second episode. I'm excited for next episode. Next episode, we have Mr. Ruffridge and Miss Laird, our high school activities director and high school principal. They'll be talking about activities, athletics, and academics in Fort Dodge Senior High as well. So we're going to kind of stay on that kick a little bit. They'll be talking about the bond referendum and items on that agenda a little bit. But what are some final thoughts or anything you guys would just like to share about your experience? Maybe anything you'd like to. If there's a eighth grader, one of the things that I was going to maybe ask was, I have an eighth grader that's going to come up to the high school next year. Okay. So it's kind of exciting, kind of scary at the same time. What would be something you would share with maybe a final thought on your Fort Dodge or on high school experience, or even something you might share with a future eighth grader?
I would say get involved. Like, to me, like my mind goes to sports. It's just like, do as much as you can. Find something you love and just work towards it. I think another thing is like get involved in things like FCA. We Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We have a really good FCA program. Yep. That's like well ran. It's just like the more you get involved, the better your experience is going to be.
Yeah.
I feel like to go along with that, because I feel like that's the biggest piece of advice. Academically, just stay original to yourself. I feel like nowadays, maybe not us, but other students just depend on other people's work or just AI sometimes. Yep. I feel like the use of that has increased a lot. Just stay original to yourself, beyond academics. It's just a good piece of advice.
Yep. Sweet.
I totally agree with what Izzam said. It's powerful because, a lot of students, it's a psychology thing, follow what other people are doing. But I think this year at Fort Dodge Senior High, I could label it with one word. I would choose the word diversity, because you can stay original, true to yourself, and you can find a group that you belong in. Everybody there is so belonging. It's something you can't describe, but I think if students, when they come in as new freshmen, they can just keep their eyes open, keep their hearts open, keep their minds open to everything there, and don't let what other people do corrupt your character.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's great. That's good. Good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys coming on today's podcast, taking some time out of your day. We're not in school. We're in summer. You could have maybe slept till 9, 10 o'clock. Jesse, I know, got up for weights this morning, but I do appreciate that. And so when you get into administration or the superintendent role, you get a little farther away from kids. And so this is all about being around kids. Like, you go into education for kids. And so when you go in to be a principal or administrator or superintendent, sometimes you feel like you don't get to be around kids so much. So I've really enjoyed this morning getting to know you guys. And we'll be having more kids on the podcast because this is what it's all about. So thanks again, guys. All right. As we wrap up today's episode, just a reminder, our next episode will be June 26th, I believe, or roughly in that area. Our guest will be Mr. Ruffridge, Brandon Ruffridge, high school activities director, and high school principal Stacy Laird. And they will be talking about Fort Dodge Senior High academics, athletics, and activities, and then also the upcoming bond referendum. Shout out baseball and softball last night. Played Ames at home. Had a couple really good games. One, I think softball took the second game last night to a very good Ames team. And then, baseball lost a couple really close one-run games last night. So baseball, softball are in full effect. Those that know activities and athletics, about the only thing going on in our school from a student standpoint, if you're not in the weight room or going to open gyms and different things like that. So it starts to quiet down here a little bit in the summer. Just want to remind everybody, thanks for joining our podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at any time. You can go to www.fdschools.org to our website. You can find all of our calendar of events and activities and highlights from the district across there. As we wrap up, I once again want to thank our sponsor, CID, also known as Central Iowa Distributing, a great partner of Fort Dodge Schools. They come to our building whenever we need anything. They're the reason you have toilet paper in the bathrooms, guys, just so you know. But they redo all of our gym floors, do a fantastic job. This is the busiest time of the year for them, so we appreciate them sponsoring today's podcast. Thanks again for joining me today on today's podcast. Thank you to our listeners and our followers. Be looking for our next episode here in the next couple weeks. Be sure to follow us for more stories, updates, and board tidbits. Until next time, go Dodgers.
Thank you for listening to the Dodger Download, your source for all things Fort Dodge schools. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share with your friends, family, and fellow Dodgers. For more update and resources, visit us at fdschools.org or follow the Fort Dodge Community School District on social media. Until next time, keep showing that Dodger pride. This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.